Okay, now I want to do something a little bit more sophisticated in the blues realm. We've been doing some gut bucket stuff where you just utilize 2 strings, kind of Jimmy Reed, which is great. That's all totally in the game. You hear a lot in the real Delta or the low down blues, you hear that. But then when the blues got sophisticated, I was just thinking more like when I got into the big city, the Harlem Renaissance, Chicago, you started hearing different voicings in that blues, especially acoustic blues. Sonny, the people like that. Sonny and Brownie McGhee, I noticed they use a lot of little different voicings. So I'll show you a voicing that I use in the key of E. So you got your E chord, right? So what I'll do with that is I'll come down on the low E note, and then I'll pinch the A and the G string. And that I'm skipping that D string. Okay? And then I'm gonna move up and I have my 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the A, and the 1st finger picks up the 2nd fret of the G. So you're working off low E, and then pinch the A and the G. And then move up to here, another voicing. So you got 4th fret on the E, 2nd fret on the G. So from this is a natural E chord to this. Okay? Notice I'm pinching. And then for the 3rd part, you're going to move that 3rd finger up to the 5th fret on the A and drop your 2nd finger on the 4th fret of the G. Okay? And then back to the other one, 2nd position, to an E. So in slow motion, it would sound something like this. Remember to strike that low E first. Now, if you want to make it a little more colorful, what I'll do is I'll hammer on the 1st fret of the G and pick up that high E string. So how does that work in practice? It sounds like this. Yeah, that's cool. You know, all these little licks that I'm showing you, I call them vocabulary licks because that's the way I learned it, from whether it was from sitting next to a record player or watching somebody do it, playing during a jam or something. But boy, I'll tell you, they're so handy when you get a riff like that works. Because as Keith Richards famously said, solos come and go, but riffs last forever. And I think that's true. If you've got a riff that's more in a kind of meaty chordal thing, it's different than just going dweedly-doo. Nothing wrong with that. But I think people get, in my opinion only, I think sometimes guitar players, especially beginning or young, they get so carried away with this one note stuff, always soloing. But the truth is, solos are important and they're great, but it's more important to play musically, and really be simpatico with whoever it is you're playing. And a lot of times that's involving more than one string at a time, like this. Setting a groove too. So what you've got there is you've got really, I call them interior melodies within the chord playing. To me, that's really a rich way to approach guitar. I do it fingerstyle. You can do it with a pick as well. But to truly get those harmonies in there, you kind of have to pinch. But it's worth the effort because, as I'm about to show you, I'll do like a whole movement, 1-4-5. And I cover this a lot at jimmydillon.com, so I'm not going to, go over all that ground here. But what I wanted to illustrate was that by utilizing more than one note, or in this case, a chordal melody, you can get a sound out of a single acoustic guitar that's pretty darn full. So it sounds like, I'm going to do a whole round for you. Do a little walk up. If you hit jimmydillon.com, I got a whole bunch of lessons. Blues you can use. And I'm just going to go to a simple B7, and then I'm going to lock that A, and then back to the E. And I just stay at the E. Sometimes you can go to the 5. Depends on the song. A lot of times I won't go to the 5, I'll just stay on the E. Just let it roll. And then get into a leave room for a little lick. As you can see, I'm having fun with it now. I'm gonna go way up. I'm gonna do a little turnaround. And there you have a little chordal melody in the key of E. Like I said, if you like it, come and visit me. I'm really happy to entertain any requests you might have, or I love the comments, no matter good, bad, indifferent, I don't care. I'd like to hear what you guys think of all this. I have a lot of fun doing it. I'm sitting here in my little music room on Maui, reaching out to y'all. So we'll see you down the road.